coming out here this afternoon. We have representatives of the post office with us. I'm going to introduce them first. But we also have some elected officials. I want to introduce them as well and thank them for being here. Our State Senator Mike McLaughlin is here sitting in the back of the room. We have City Councilman Paul Rotello is here, City Councilman Fred Visconti, City Councilwoman Mary Teicholz, Council President Joe Calvo is here, Councilman Tom Sadi is here, Chad is here. We also have former Mayor Gene Araquez is here with us today. Councilman Don Taylor is in the back. And we have a representative from Senator Blumenthal's office. How are you guys? Matt Malone and Stephanie from Congressman Murphy's office. So, both offices. You guys don't clap like that for me. Thank you. Okay. And really, if I could just not try to steal your thunder, the purpose is just to have the post office listen to your thoughts, comments, concerns regarding any potential changes to the Main Street post office. I don't know if they'll have time to answer any questions or if that's part of this process, but they're certainly willing to do that. We are taking minutes, right? So we'll have a record here as well as this will be broadcast on our local cable access station. So with us today from the United States Post Office, if we can just go down and just introduce yourselves and your function there, it'd be helpful.
Sure. My name is Guy Polacco. I'm the Post Office Operations Manager for the area of 066, 068, and 069. I'm basically your postmaster's boss.
I'm Philip Joyer. I'm the postmaster at Danbury, and I also take care of New Fairfield.
I'm Barbara Mastriani. I'm the Post Office Review Coordinator. I'm the one that gathers all the data and puts the docket together, submitting it to headquarters for a final determination.
Jacob Williams, Manager Customer Service for Danbury.
Okay, thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate it. What we'll do is we have a microphone set up here at the front, and I guess we can start first with, do you guys want to give any kind of overview or sort of a background? We'll do a background first, then take some comments, and then answer any questions that you might have. If you are going to comment, if you have a question, ask it, and try to keep things pretty tight so everybody who has a thought may be able to be heard. I also have some emails and stuff that I'll forward over to Barbara later on that I could receive through the email system here at the City of Danbury. So with that, I'm going to turn over to the folks from USPS.
Okay, I don't think I need that. Okay. Can everyone hear me? I don't think I'll need the microphone. As I said, my name is Guy Polacco. I'm Post Office Operations Manager. I have financial administrative responsibilities for the post offices within the 066, 068, 069 area. I want to go quickly over the goals of this meeting. First, we're going to give you an overview of the status of the Postal Service, the proposed sale of the Danbury. Okay, the proposed sale of the Danbury Main Street office, and then we'll open up things for comments. We know that your mail is important and your post office is important. That's why we're here today. We are a proud part of every community, every business, and every household. But mail volume has declined 20% nationwide since 2006, and it continues to decline. That means that the dollars spent at post offices have also dropped. Remember, we do not receive tax dollars. Postal operations are underwritten by stamp sales, services, etc. Postal Service lost $8.5 billion in 2010, and we're looking at another loss this year. I believe it's going to be about $6 billion. Some of this loss is due to changes in how people use mail. Some is related to unfunded mandates placed upon us by Congress, which holds a price tag in the billions. All of it means that we have to make some difficult decisions as the Postal Service. We cannot overlook any appropriate opportunity to improve the financial health of the Postal Service. Today, we look at facilities for opportunities to save and grow. Please understand, this is in no way a reflection of the level of service provided at this post office or by the postal employees that proudly serve our customers every day. However, America is changing the way it uses post offices, and we need to change along with that. Our proposal is quite straightforward. The Danbury Main Street station is owned by the Postal Service. It provides almost 11,000 square feet of interior space, an additional 4,000 square feet of parking, and over 3,400 square feet for loading and dock space. We offer stamp sales and postal services, including post office box service and money orders. No letter carriers work in this facility. There is no processing or postmarking of mail in this facility. 1 out of every 3 post office boxes in this building goes unrented. It is too much building for the space that we need right now. It is no longer the best way to serve the delivery needs for Danbury City Center. A sale of this site helps us in several ways. We can control some costs. We can see new revenues coming in through the proceeds of the sale. And quite likely, your community will see the building on the tax rolls supporting new business growth in City Center. Service won't skip a beat on our side. As you know, there are several other postal facilities in the area that we feel will meet the needs of Danbury. We also have a contract postal unit in Charles One Stop right down the street from the Main Street office, which offers multilingual services, is open a lot longer as far as their operation hours than we are, and they're also open on Sundays. As most of you already know, you can pretty much buy stamps everywhere nowadays, CVS, Walmart, Costco, etc. In addition to availability of alternatives, our formal study has looked at other items including office workload and customer demand. Workload analysis uses a time formula to look at types of transactions in an office and the complexity of those transactions. Customer demand is measured in part by revenue figures, box rentals, and responses to our questionnaires. We pull the numbers and the types of window transactions, and we do see some downtime in this station. Finally, we consider operating expenses. That includes all the obvious costs and more, including salaries and benefits, replacement pay when there is an absence, equipment, stock and supplies on hand, utilities, maintenance, transportation, and other operational costs. Then there is customer input. We read every letter to the editor and track every survey. Your surveys have been helpful in identifying common concerns about delivery needs for Danbury City Center. One of those was, this Bacchus Avenue is too far for me to go pick up my mail, and we heard you. At present, we are looking at 5 potential locations to set up a detached P.O. box unit right on Main Street within that area of Charles One Stop and where the post office is currently. Another question comes up about zip codes, and in a detached box unit in the same area, the zip code will not change. And finally, there are some points raised to the history of having a post office in City Center. We appreciate that deep affection for the Postal Service that many folks have. We are proud of that history in Danbury and around the nation. We have to focus on our future and the quality of service to you today and for years to come. So let me stress this. We did not come here tonight with a final decision in hand. We came here to learn more about how you use this post office and to share some ways we think might meet your needs. But for right now, it's your turn. Your comments are important to us. That's why we're here tonight. We asked, like Mayor Mountain, I guess, already kind of let everyone know, we want to open it up to the local residents that use this post office. Again, that is the purpose of this meeting, to hear your concerns, your questions, your comments, in helping us make a determination of where we move from this point forward. Okay, so what we do ask is, we have a setup, that's the microphone that they'll use? Okay, so what we ask is when you come up to just give us your name and then your relationship to this post office, whether you're a post office box holder or you buy your stamps there or whatever. Because again, it's important for us to hear from the residents that actually use this post office. We also ask that you keep, just for a matter of time, if you would keep your questions and or comments to one. We are taking minutes. Barbara is taking down everything that is said at this meeting. We do have the sign-in sheet, and if anyone missed that, please, before you leave tonight, if you would sign in your sheet so we can keep track of what transpires tonight. And I think that's pretty much it. I guess we could start with...
Actually, I did want to recognize a couple other people that came in the room. City Councilman Ben Chianese is with us. City Councilman Nancy Deep Dimitri is with us, as well as City Councilman Peter Nero. So we welcome them out of that and thank them. So, you want to get started? You okay? Is anything else?
Actually, yes. We promised her she'd go first.
Thank you very much for the coming. I don't know what happened. I'm Mary Consola. I'm speaking on two parts. I'm treasurer of the Danbury Central Labor Council, and I also live on the east side in Danbury. And I don't know what happened to my survey. I'm not, I always give my 2 cents to everything. I'm known for commenting, so I'm happy to have this opportunity to speak. As treasurer of the Central Labor Council, our office is P.O. Box 121 in downtown Danbury. I go twice a month to the post office box, if not more often, to get our mail. Our meetings are held at the Danbury Nurses Union, but all the information from all our government forms and everything is the post office box at 121 downtown. In fact, I would like to see the lobby open a little more so we could get there on Saturday or Sunday after the mornings to try to get into the post office box. And as a resident, I live on the east side of Danbury, and it's a trek to go over to the mall to try to go over to the Bacchus Avenue. Trying to get through the mall traffic, trying to get there when it's flooded or when it's not plowed in the winter is an awesome task. And I think to not have the facility here is a problem. And as far as buying stamps, I don't go online. I go to the post office and we buy our stamps for the Nurses Union on a monthly basis when I go in and do my business for pick up the post office box for the Central Labor Council. I get our stamps and postage for the Nurses Union because I serve as president of the Danbury Nurses Union. So I have a lot of use for the post office, and it would really be a detriment to me, our businesses, transaction and personal, to have it move off Main Street. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Rochelle Goldberg. I live in the area. I don't know if I'm speaking to any others here, but I'm a non-driver. I mean, I don't drive, I take the bus. And I know when I had to get the passport last year, I had to go to Bacchus Avenue, get on the bus, walk all the way around. It's a little bit difficult. I do use it regularly. I buy my stamps there. I mail packages in California and other places there. I love that you have the boxes and the envelopes, everything available to me there. And I really hope that it stays open because it's a landmark. And as I said, I'm one of those people that don't drive, and it's so convenient and wonderful, and the service is excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my name is Lori Levine, and I work at Hodgman Church, St. Lucie, which is located at 283 Main Street. So we're very near the post office. We use it for everything. We use it to buy stamps. We use it for the P.O. box. We also use it for delivery constantly because we have insurance policies going out in boxes. And we purchase stamps. And for us, okay, it would be very hard because we would lose productivity if we have to send the person who goes there 3 times a day to another location. And especially if it involves getting in a vehicle and driving. I mean, I believe what we would have to do is change everything from a P.O. box to the street mailing address, which would just cause more traffic in Danbury that we don't need, and parking for the postage people, the mail people who need to find a place to park to deliver the mail. They can't just walk whole Main Street up, so that would be hazardous. And in addition, probably a lot of businesses would go to Federal Express because you can just call them up and have them, they come and they pick up your delivery and, take it. So the post office in that fact would be losing a lot of business. So maybe, I understand, I just read all your statistics and everything. We could try to find a place that's on Main Street, because Main Street is like so valuable. I mean, we're cleaning it up. I can see a lot of cleaning up on it, the green and everything. So it's an important part of Danbury is Main Street. And the post office is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Gene Eriquez. I'm born and raised, lifelong resident of Danbury. I'm here to make a statement on behalf of Union Savings Bank, of which I'm the vice president. Union Savings Bank, an employer of 450 people and the fourth largest Connecticut-based bank in the state, hereby implores the United States Postal Service to maintain its presence in downtown Danbury. Union Savings Bank's corporate headquarters is located at 225 Main Street and has 2 additional offices on Main Street and another large facility within the center area of the city. Established in 1866, Union Savings has enjoyed the convenient and professional services offered in downtown by the Postal Service now for many decades, close to indeed a century. As cities are challenged to continue to attract businesses to their core areas, it is essential to provide the infrastructure, services, and amenities that both attract new businesses and retain existing ones. The downtown post office is an essential component of the city's infrastructure and service offerings. Furthermore, thousands of Danbury's residents reside within the city's inner core and rely upon the Main Street post office location to conduct their personal business. Danbury is the 7th largest city in the state with a population nearing 80,000 people. It is 44 square miles in size and serves as the urban center in northern Fairfield County and in western Connecticut. It is the #1 generator of sales tax revenue in all of Connecticut. The city's center serves as a hub for commerce, communications, health, housing, education, recreation, and the arts. It is recognized that the Bacchus Avenue facility now handles many functions that once were situated at the Main Street location. As an aside, I worked there years ago myself. However, City Hall and other city governmental offices, Western Connecticut State University, Naugatuck Valley Community College, Danbury Hospital, banks, many large and small businesses, nonprofit organizations, restaurants, and other entities are also located within the city center and rely upon and utilize the services of this downtown facility. It is critically important for the Postal Service to continue its offerings of full services in the downtown as a partner with the aforementioned other businesses and organizations for the long-term economic health of our greater community. And given Danbury's geographical size and its importance to the economic well-being of the region and the state, and with increasing demand for convenient downtown postal service due to planned growth and diversity within the city's center area, the United States Postal Service must maintain its presence as a much-needed and appreciated, conveniently located resource and partner within our downtown community. And I have this statement on behalf of Union Savings Bank to submit. If I may, on my second hat, as the mayor had introduced, I had the pleasure before Mayor Bobbins to serve as his predecessor for 12 years here in the city of Danbury. I want to support the city's endeavors in retaining the presence of the post office on our Main Street on a full-service basis. You know, many of the employees of the Postal Service are our neighbors. They're our friends. They develop personal relationships. We take ownership of our relationship, indeed, with many of the Postal Service employees here within Danbury and the greater Danbury community. I want to recognize as well that Norwalk, the city of Norwalk, is the 6th largest city in the state. It too has 2 facilities, one on Belden Avenue, one in South Norwalk, a large distribution center, similarly to what we have at Bacchus Avenue and compared to what we have here on our Main Street. So given the planned growth that is going to occur within the center area of our city, within the housing arena, within opportunities for commerce, we need to be able to maintain these opportunities for employment within the Postal Service within our city center area, but also ensure that the Postal Service is there to be able to support that growth and diversity that will come in the long-term future of the city of Danbury as well. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Devine. I'm owner of 2 Steps Downtown Grill.
I Street, block behind the post office. I'm also chairman of City Center Danbury, a separate tax district within the downtown, and represent about 350 property owners within the downtown. I think we get it. You guys can't support that size facility. We've got 11,000 square feet, and it's our understanding you really only have 2 people working in the entire building. That part we understand. I'd like to know, and it's also my understanding that those 2 people would be reshuffled out to the Bacchus Avenue post office, so there would be no loss of jobs due to union contracts. So the real overhead we're looking to erase here is the facility. Is carrying this 11,000 square feet. Why can't we consider downsizing the facility, take some money, sell the facility, make some money, and open up a 1,500 to 2,000 square foot post office in the downtown on Main Street that could service some P.O. boxes and still have a counter there for mailing packages and stamps. I'd like to hear your thought process on that. I'm sure it's come across the table. I don't think it's a new idea, so what you're thinking on that. Yeah, I mean, and it's still, again, it's still a possibility. What we were looking at more towards the fact that we have a CPU there, contract postal unit called One Stop, and maybe get a detached box section for the P.O. box holders. So really, we pretty much not miss a beat as far as Main Street postal services are concerned.
But from a consumer's viewpoint, when you're walking into a facility, it's like, I own a 275-seat restaurant. It's like me saying, the deli down the street is going to be handling the sandwiches, and you can get them there. It's people like the service of being able to go into the post office, and I think the business model will suffer under this little subcontract thing that really is owned by an independent. Today, but will they be there 6 months from a year now or a year from now?
Absolutely, and that's definitely a legitimate concern, and we will definitely include that in our decision making.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Charlie Sotero. I'm a resident of the city of Danbury. In the interest of full disclosure, I probably should tell you that I'm a retiree of the Postal Service, having been employed for 37 years, also a resident of the city, and it's an honor to speak here, especially in company of the 2 mayors and some of my previous bosses, all of whom I know. But my view on this is the regulations of the Postal Service on this type of closure, if I'm not mistaken, are held in the Postal Operations Manual, something that should guide these people in the delineation of what services should and shouldn't be provided, as well as the locations for these services. I only had a brief moment before I came in to look at the Postal Operations Manual, but I was familiar with it in the past. There are a lot of things in there that at first glance I think may be something that need to be looked at again, because I don't think they're going to carry all the criteria for that in closing the post office. One of the things that struck me in there, I believe it was, and I'm paraphrasing and I apologize for that, I thought we had internet access here, but I wasn't able to pull the Wi-Fi out. But in any event, it mentioned delineation such that it would provide service to all people. We all know downtown has a certain makeup of characters and people and ethnic situations, and I worked in that building for approximately 30 years of my 37-year career. It's a community source. It's a community situation. The utility costs, I know, is a main factor for owning the building, but if you look at the history of the building, the same windows that were on the building 40 years ago when I came in, which needed to be replaced then, are there now. The building looks horrible. Perhaps investing in that facility, upgrading it, you will increase some of the revenues there. I think many people don't want to go down there just because of the look of the building, but that's sort of neither here nor there, but it is a background issue. But once again, perhaps you could increase some services there. My understanding is passports are no longer processed at that facility, which I find kind of unusual because there are many people in the downtown area that have foreign ties that need to have passports made, and of course it's very inconvenient to go all the way to Bacchus Avenue. But it is a community gathering point, and I think it would be a fatal blow to the downtown redevelopment and downtown development to have something like that pulled away. Danbury's not the place to do it. I really think Danbury's a very big geographical city, or over 40-something square miles, if I'm not mistaken. And to have just the main post office, only one classified unit, located on the other side of town, doesn't bode well for this area, I think. I appreciate it, and I urge anyone who wants to look at the regulations in the Postal Operations Manual, take a look at it. You can pull it up online and see if you think that the Postal Service is responding to our community. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chad Sinani, and I've been a resident of the city of Danbury since 1992, an active participant in community life. I have some concerns about closing the downtown post office, and let me explain why. First of all, there are businesses down there that use the post office, but also there's persons with disabilities, there's the elderly, there's people who don't drive cars. I don't drive a car, and it's a pain in the neck to go all the way to Bacchus. And the thing at Charles One Stop, I use services sometimes there too, but they don't have everything. I asked for postcard stamps. I had to walk all the way down to the post office on Main Street to go get the post office stamps. And they, I understand there's a problem maintaining the post office because of costs and all, but I want to refer you to a comment made by Mr. Sadi that he saw over 14 people online. So did I. I had to wait online to get the stamps. And it's a pain in the neck to go all the way to Bacchus. The bus doesn't go to Bacchus and all, and if you close the downtown post office, you're hurting the downtown area. And the other complaint I have is, why do you close the post office from 1 to 2 o'clock? There's people on their lunch hour, there's people who have businesses, like the Danbury Music Center, there's the downtown, there's a lot of businesses down there, and, what do you want to do? I think we should keep the downtown post office open. I'm not saying that, I don't think it's underused. I understand there's a problem with, costs going up and, revenue, and there's a problem with, all too many employees. But the thing is that, it's a beautiful thing for the downtown area. A lot of people do use the post office, and for mailing packages, buying stamps. Yeah, you could buy stamps at the stores and stuff, but there's some things you can't do at the stores, or you can't do it at Charles One Stop. And the downtown area needs that post office, and the P.O. boxes need to be downtown too. Say for the sake of argument, you do this and you move everything out of the downtown area, how are people going to get there? I don't have a P.O. box myself. I did it one time a long time ago. But what I'm saying is, it's a pain in the neck. It's for people to have to go to Bacchus or go some out of the way area. Thank you.
My name is June Bronco. I have a P.O. box at the Bacchus Avenue, and I think there's an underlying assumption that Bacchus Avenue is adequate, and Bacchus very often long lines there. When they moved the services to Bacchus Avenue, for a long time there wasn't adequate parking. The parking that they put in requires people to cross traffic and walk with cars pulling out in front of you and walk quite a distance. Now, the comment was made about the post office and its lack of repair. You see that all over the country. Before there was a hybrid franchise, monopoly franchise, there was tax dollars that we used to build that post office. and more stamp sales that we used to build that post office. So if you don't want it anymore, I suggest you give it back to the citizens of the city of Danbury, to the state of Danbury, or the United States government, because there has been deferred maintenance on post offices all over this country that were put in the charge of the people who are giving the franchise to make money. Now, people have invested in this downtown with blood, sweat, and tears. They've brought back the housing in this town. The so-called housing boom has resulted in the refurbishment of the housing stock all over here. You can see new roofs, you see new porches. People are trying to make this city work. There's much smaller places that have many postal outlets. But to take services away from downtown and to force people onto the highways, to force people to spend gas, to force people to a place where no one can walk to the post office, and then say you don't have enough business downtown is very disingenuous.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Right. The cynicism in the post office these days is quite unbelievable. There's no clock anymore. Is that, and I've been told so people don't get aggravated waiting in line. They don't see the price of stamps or services. I guess if you don't know the price, then you get to spend more time at the counter. I mean, the idea that this is to save money, I think what you should do is run a shuttle bus every hour on the hour out the Bacchus Avenue. Because you're putting our lives in danger, you're forcing people, the Danbury highway system clogs up several times a day, you can't get on 84, you're forcing people into their cars all over town. And the idea that this building is a profit center, a one-time profit, you know, there's a lot of things going on in this country where they're selling public facilities to Australian pension funds, and I find that very sad. That if this organization can't figure out how to make money, let's not pretend that by buying a stamp, we're supposed to be the customers that are supporting a given facility. We all know that the real customers are the big banks, the junk mailers, everyone that pays the big bulk rate. The people in this room is that we are the people granting you the franchise to deliver mail to us. And to do that, services are supposed to be delivered. You're not supposed to go in and spend 15 cents or 40 cents or $1 a stamp and expect that to pay for the floor space that you're standing on. Now, if you want to make better use of the post office building and rent out some space, there's a number of things that could be done. But you can certainly move the passports back there to serve the people who need it and not force them out into Bacchus Avenue. But no matter what you do, Bacchus Avenue is not adequate. The parking means people have to walk in front of cars that are back and forth, or if you're driving, you have to be careful you don't kill the people who have just come out of the post office. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tom Side, member of the City Council, represent a ward that is on the east side of town with a significant portion that's downtown. Written to the postmaster in the past, and to keep my comments real short, I have to agree with the mayor, representatives from City Center, and other speakers that there are many options here besides just closing down a U.S. postal facility on our main street. I don't agree with that it's an adequate replacement to have the CPUs, the contractors out there, because again, as you said, they can close. My CPU that I go to sometimes, I've seen a change of hands and a change in the way they operate. I'm concerned sometimes with packages and the attention or lack of attention they're given when I'm not at a U.S. postal facility. And it's actually made me encourage other people to use U.S. postal facilities more. I know that they are trained, I guess licensed or have a contract, but you don't control the employees they hire down the road, and they're focusing on maybe lottery tickets or on candy sales or on other things and not paying attention to that post office desk. The revenue issue. I know your revenue has dropped downtown, but your revenue fiscal year of last year, I think, was close to about $675,000 in that facility. And year to date, you're going to be making about $340,000 in that facility on Main Street, even though you've removed some of the services that people now have to go to Bacchus Avenue to get. So even though you don't have actual comparables, still a lot of money coming into that facility. Sell the building, understand. A lot of overhead. Sell it, do so in a way that doesn't leave it empty. so that we don't have a degeneration of that building, people abusing it and nefarious action going out there. As the mayor highlighted, what happens when you abandon a building downtown, you have a whole host of problems. I understand, a small facility, someone talked about a 1,500, I think Tom Devine, a 1,500, 2,000 square foot facility. Have a desk. Provide those official U.S. Postal Services by postal employees. Maintain the post office boxes, which I thought were about 70% rented, not 66 or 63%. Then we just reduce the number. If you go to another location that's more commensurate with the amount of post office boxes that are rented out. So don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Don't cut the people off from downtown. Myself, I don't live that far from nothing. I didn't get a survey. None of my neighbors received surveys, and I've got a lot to say about this, but I'm not going to say it all tonight. So hope you'll take these comments and others that you're going to hear for the rest of this evening to heart. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
My name is Jeff Kareem. I've worked downtown for 33 years on Main Street. I'm at the post office at least once to 2 times a day for work. I also have a post office box of my own there, and I'm there, of course, every day. If we have to go to Bacchus Avenue for post office boxes, the windows close at 5:30. I don't get out of work until late. If I have a package, I'll never be able to get it because they'll ship it back. I know there's a decline in revenue at this post office. Part of the problem was caused by the Postal Service itself. When I used to stand in line every day to either pick up packages, there'd be 2, 3 people in line waiting for passports. You get people into the post office for the passport downtown, they're going to get the packages, they're going to buy their stamps. You take services away, you're not going to get them into the building. We need post office boxes downtown. We need to be able to, like I say, I send certified letters overnight. I don't want to go to a private company. I want to go to the Postal Service. Otherwise, I'd have UPS or FedEx at the office constantly. That's about it. Thanks.
Yes, my name is Barbara Bryan. I happen to live in Bethel, but I work on Main Street, actually at Union Savings Bank. It's part of my job to go to the post office every day, and twice on Mondays, I pick up mail from 17 of the post office boxes there that are rented. So, first of all, I just wanted to comment that you had said that 1 out of 3 are not used, and the counter to that is 2 out of 3 are being rented and used, so that's quite a few boxes that are being used at that facility. And I don't want to talk about inconvenience to me to have to go to Bacchus Avenue twice on Monday and every day in a car. I have to go during the workday. I can't go before work because the desk isn't open until 9. I go to work at 8. And we have to pick up registered mail, certified mail, things that have to be done at the counter. So that really is not feasible for us. But I think you also need to think about, as other people mentioned, I go there every day. There are walkers that go into that Main Street facility. So these are people who either would have to take the bus that doesn't really go there, but goes sort of near there, or would not be able to go at all. So I'm really concerned also about the people I see in line who are walking with baby strollers. They're walking with carts that they have to pull for packages and everything, whereas, if you have to put them on the bus, it's just not amenable for the post office to do that. And I had a question I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer. I know that very recently the old Billyville post office was saved from closing. Would you be able to tell me how the volume there compares to the Main Street post office? That's a post office that, to me, talk about the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of nowhere. And this is a post office that's on Main Street in Danbury, a very big city. Only the second location. This is the location that we need to save.
Good afternoon, I'm Stan Medita. I'm Vice President of the Danbury Railway Museum. We are a nonprofit museum located in city center within walking distance of the post office. We do maintain a post office box there that we pick up 2, 3, 4 times a week. We have a retired gentleman that does that mailing for us. If we don't have the post office box facility at Main Street location or something where we have to go to Backus Avenue, we're looking at probably having to reimburse him for his gas mileage. If we do it at the nonprofit rate for gas mileage, we're probably looking at an expense of $500 a year. If we do it at the commercial rate, it's probably an expense to us of about $1,000 a year. So it's imperative that we do keep some kind of service on Main Street or in city center. And also in regard to the contract post office, I know the one up off of Clapper Ridge does not sell money orders. And I don't know if the one on Main Street does. That's a service that will be missing from the Main Street post office. I think for the people in the downtown area, being able to purchase a money order is probably pretty important. And for them to go to Backus Avenue would be a real convenience. I don't know if that contract post office has that service available. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Allie McConnell. I live on Fountain Street, and I walked here. My husband and I own our condo there, and we pay into the special taxing district downtown happily. I am a image consultant, and I also have an online store where I sell vintage clothing and my own designs. I use the downtown post office exclusively to ship to my customers, and I know that I can schedule a pickup from my home, but I like to walk down and chat with Gary and Charlie there, and I also combine my trip with other errands. I can walk anywhere from my bank, Sikorsky Federal Credit Union, down to Rogers Park, and I do when I have. I think everybody here has covered what I would consider my complaints about no bus service to Backus Avenue and convenience, the building maintenance. It's irrelevant that it hasn't been maintained at this point. I think a possible solution, I understand that first it would have to, the building would be offered to another federal agency for sale, and then only would it be offered possibly to private developers. I think an example that could be looked to if it does go that route is the City Hall in Waterbury. Remediation as far as the asbestos and bringing it up to code would be kind of monumental for a private developer. And Waterbury just reopened their City Hall, which faced a lot of the same issues. It's a beautiful building, it's a landmark, and they've done it successfully, and I'm very proud of it. So I think that sort of combination of a municipal effort with private business would be the best solution for where downtown Danbury is going. And of course, it could go to retail or office space. I think as a young, creative entrepreneur in this city, definitely seeking studio space that's not in the corner of my bedroom, along with many of the other creative entrepreneurs that are actually meeting at 2 Steps at 6 p.m. tonight, who are looking for space and have a lot of creative ideas. I think an out-of-the-box idea using that beautiful building with its natural light and tall ceilings would be a great combination. I'd love to talk to anybody who has capital about my ideas, because we're going to be here for a while. So I would love to see that beautiful building continue to be in use and not abandoned like the eyesore police department behind my building. Well, I would like to see what comes up next. We should talk about that.
Good evening. My name is Suzanne Molyneux. I live at 48 Taylor Street. I don't want to repeat the comments that have been made already, but I would like to say that Charles One Stop is not a multilingual facility. The woman who operates it does not speak any English. You also cannot buy stamps there, and I have tried on several occasions, but the answer is no
have stamps. Also, at the main facility, they stopped selling commemoratives, and there are some of us who would really like to put commemorative stamps on our mail, or we may collect commemoratives. And I do think I agree with the woman who said that it is disingenuous to say that there's been a decline in service when you're actually removing services from the main post office. I agree with Tom Sadi about using a facility which is actually meant for something else. I think it's nice to have a dignified post office which is at a central location, and I think with all the talk about the Danbury Renaissance, Downtown Renaissance Task Force, it's silly to close a landmark building when we're trying to revitalize our downtown. I think that there's something missing about going to Charles One Stop where they're selling sneakers and perfume and try to do business with someone who doesn't speak English. So that's all I have to say.
Hi, my name is Maria Pereira, and I apologize for my voice. I work at Union Savings, and I'm not here just talk about myself, but about some of my customers who use the post office. I worked there for 25 years, and most of my relationship with my customers is because they go to the post office. They park in the back of the bank, they do their deposits, they go to the post office, they come, they say bye. And I think it's very unfair taking the post office from downtown when it's a landmark, and it's the guys there are just marvelous for all the customers who don't speak English. They try very hard to understand the customers. Sometimes I'm there and I translate for them, but it's I think it's a very lost if you take it. I understand the costs are really high, the building is big, but maybe combine all that and make a small building, do something. Do not take it from down Main Street.
No, that's okay.
I don't know if you are aware that history records that the first factory ever erected in the country as a hat shop was built in 1780 by Zadok Benedict near the site of what is now the Danbury Post Office on Main Street. Danbury, like all cities, Danbury, like all cities, has gone through more than a century and a half of prosperity and panics, war depressions, and right now, a failing economy. I hope I'm speaking right. As we face the future, we must not abandon traditional services such as our post office on Main Street. It is a part of us. So many people still use it. Many of us in the area, like myself, I've lived 51 years in the former Seifert Ford building on 15 Library Place. It's directly across from the post office, where I also have my post office box. Many of us take packages, everything, every day, shipments, get stamps, everything. And I've seen many times immigrants from the counter all the way to the back, and long, long waits. And the reason why you're not probably getting enough, like making enough like you used to, you've taken away so many services, that's why you're losing business. I cannot see a storefront because it will not have the comfort of the large, beautiful space that our post office has now and the security of being in a federal building. It is a convenience to every one of us here tonight, especially people that don't drive like myself. There is another reason why we should never give it up. Danbury is in the planning stages now in the next 5 years planning development. Developers are already excited about it. There was an article in the paper in the last, quick read, it won't take a minute. It was in the last week of April. A local developer, Dan Bertram, said that Danbury has made significant investments in the city's downtown, even during the recent economy. Danbury is the only place in the region where you can create a walking environment and new residential development of any size and scale. He also mentioned something about now it's a process of bringing more people into the downtown environment. We're really excited that in the next 5 years there's going to be a huge community in the downtown Danbury. That's another reason why you should keep it. And last but not least, just let me say that if we don't, it is up to us here to leave something of ourselves to history, something of our heritage, at least to those coming after us. And believe me, that building is a beautiful building. If you want, I know that the top floor is a kind of falling apart in the basement, but why don't we, I mean, if you fix those up, you could rent them out for meetings and everything else. But I just think it would be terrible to the future generation and things not to save a beautiful place like that with marble floors. It's beautiful, that's all.
My name is Mark Nolan, and I own several residential properties in downtown Central Business District. I live a mile from downtown, and for 53 years, I've been going to the post office from when I was knee-high to a grasshopper to today. Charlie and the crew behind the scenes there are fantastic, as everybody said. And I understand about building maintenance. I understand about economics. As services are taken away, you are losing some part of your population to come there. You may not need that large of a facility because you built Bacchus Avenue, but an adaptive reuse of that building is certainly in favor of what I think Danbury is looking for, and I think ultimately the local postal service is looking for. We understand my conversations with the Postal Service that go back with Phil a couple of years ago when there was discussion about moving the post office. We talked about alternative locations because you don't need that much space. There is alternative locations in the Central Business District to make the building available for community use. As Mary said, and others have said, it's a beautiful landmark, and I think that the partnership that we've demonstrated in Danbury will be able to come together to find a community use for that building, as well as keeping a post office in downtown. So I implore all of us to put our strong heads together and come up with the same type of partnership that the mayor and the city just did with the U.S. Army, as we did over on Lee Farm property, to come up with an alternative to keep the post office downtown, keep the building in the inventory of the downtown, and come to a successful conclusion so that everybody comes the next time and celebrates a resurgence of downtown.
Hello, everybody. My name is Anthony Gentile. I'm the local union president of the American Postal Workers Union. I'm not here to represent the American Postal Workers themselves, but I'm here to speak on behalf of the citizens who have daily contact with our postal workers. As many citizens who showed up here tonight, it was a great turnout for the time that we had this meeting, because as I was downtown last week, a lot of people were concerned about the start time of the meeting, especially the business people that I talked to along the downtown Main Street area, because their concern was that their shops didn't close until 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, so they couldn't be here tonight for this meeting. As the citizens spoke tonight, they spoke eloquently about the building of the downtown Danbury post office. Like the young lady over there before that said a little while ago about the historic factor of the downtown building. It's a beautiful building. It has a lot of place in history in the city of Danbury. The renaissance of Danbury is building around the downtown Danbury post office. The businesses in the downtown use that building quite a bit. The services that we provide there has lessened, and the people want more of it. As I spoke to citizens last Wednesday that came to that post office, there was over 100 of them as I tallied. They all were in support except for one person. There is some that don't really want to make that decision to keep the post office, but out of 100 people, only one. The citizens want that post office to stay alive. They want to use it. They want to go visit the customers. They like Charlie, they love Gary, they love June, who doesn't even work there anymore. They want her to come back. So let's bring the people back to the Danbury post office. Let's bring the services back. Let's raise the revenue. We can do that. The postal employees will help us do that. Give us the opportunity. Listen to the citizens of Danbury. They're speaking out. They're here. There's people who aren't here who have spoken to me outside Danbury, the downtown office, and they want that service to be there. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Don Taylor. I'm a resident of Danbury, also a member of the Danbury City Council. I'd like to express our appreciation for the time you've taken to be here and to listen to the concerns of the residents of Danbury. My main comment would be, if you want to conduct a meaningful survey, instead of mailing cards out, why don't you actually poll the people who use that facility? Hand out the survey cards at that facility, and I think you might, get a better response from the people who are actually using that facility. And I'd like to see another survey completed in that type of fashion, that you're addressing the population who use that facility and not just a mail. I'm not sure how you did that mailing, but I know a lot of people get something in the mail, they look at it, and it goes right in the circular file. So if we could pass out surveys at that facility, we might have a better response. I think I'd like to see that happen.
Can I just respond to you?
Sure.
Within a half-mile radius, I ensured that the half-mile radius around, since Danbury is so large, I want to make sure that delivery customers got them. Also, every single P.O. box customer got them, and there were additional surveys left at the counter for the clerks to hand out, just so you know.
Good, thank you. I was not aware of that, but that's, I think that if we do a comprehensive, I appreciate that information, and that was probably just, misinformation on my part from, from what I read in the paper about the surveys not being returned. Again, thank you for your time, and we appreciate the effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Frank Capiello. I have Capiello Jewelers on Main Street in Danbury. I have to thank all the people who are here today, and you people for listening, all the positive remarks that have been made about the post office downtown. I've been downtown now for 59 years. We've used that post office at a minimum a half a dozen times a year, a day. If you remove all the facilities from here, we have to travel to the west side to mail packages. We're in there maybe every hour, every 2 hours, sending packages, registered mail, overnight packages. You just can't remove it. We need the services downtown. It'll be a tremendous inconvenience for us. And I'm sure with all the people here too, you've heard all the comments. But I tell you, we as a small jewelry store downtown Danbury, we need the services. We're there. Today we were there half a dozen times. And it's not that you can wait and make one stop. Many times our packages have to get out immediately so they get there on time. And our bulk of our mail is registered mail, registered packages, and overnight deliveries. So I would appreciate you giving us some serious consideration before we get any unsatisfactory moves. Thank you very much.
We're going to do one more. Right.
Okay, I'm Nick Gazzettis, Savings Bank of Danbury, and the bank obviously has been downtown for 162 years. We have 100 employees downtown, and so we're committed to being in downtown Danbury. But I think we've heard, and I'm not going to echo what people have talked about, what Danbury has been and what Danbury is, and the neighborhood we have downtown. But I think as a member of the mayor's downtown Main Street Renaissance Task Force, I think we have to talk about, equally important, is about what we want Danbury to be and what's going to happen in the future, and the growth in residents downtown with additional housing and, again, all the small business development. That's what we want out of downtown. We want this neighborhood to really grow and thrive, and we really, again, having an official presence of the post office, not a contractor, is really important. And again, these are some things that I spent the last 2 years talking about with the other members of the task force. And I think, again, to a certain extent, I understand where the post office is going, and I understand dollars and cents. I mean, I'm in the numbers, the financial business, but again, you have to think about the future, and the plan is really to continue to see growth downtown, and I think this post office is being a little short-sighted. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, why don't we just, sir, why don't you give us your question, and then we'll call it there.
Well, I don't have any questions. My name is Robert Townsend. I've been a customer of yours for 45 years. I have a box that's on Main Street that's been there just as long. I am accustomed to doing my postal business with you people. I have never used anybody other than the postal system. I think you're putting a very hard strain on especially somebody like me that's handicapped. It would be next to impossible for me to make the trip as I do on a daily basis to the post office on Main Street versus going over the back of Avenue. I just can't do the driving anymore. And to me, it's a crying shame, because as a lot of the other people have said, you've got a beautiful building there. I've seen people, I'm going to give you an example. You just rebuilt a post office down in Sebring, Florida that was destroyed by a hurricane. That was